Ladies and gentlemen, the Yamaha Zuma 125 0 to 60 in. Maybe. Oh my gosh. Look at that. There's 50. There's 55. Go. And 60. Hey. This is the Zuma 125. It is a 2014. Just picked this up yesterday, so it's got some cool features, and just plainly scooters are an absolute blast. One, just some special things that this one has, that they replaced the rear shocks with some pretty cheap shocks there. Not even sure the brand name, but you see these things all over the internet, you know, on eBay and on Amazon. I've used these on some other bikes. They are better shocks than stock because they have some rebound dampening, but they're still pretty darn stiff. And as you can, I reset some of the spacers so you can see how much of the shock I used. I'm only using this much of the travel so far, which is not very much. I mean, it's a little too stiff for this bike, but it does keep it from pogoing, so it doesn't bounce as much anymore. The ride on these things are pretty stiff, but normally they bounce a little bit. Anyways, that's that. Other than that, it's pretty standard. Got some different handlebars on it. A little bit wider handlebar is kind of appreciated on these bikes. It's really kind of nice and pretty easy to do. So the handlebars have been swapped out for a little bit of a high-rise dirt bike style handlebar. It gets a bit of wider grip and brings the mirrors out a little bit farther so you can see over your shoulders. It's really kind of nice too. I find it a little bit more comfortable. Did this on the last one I had. The guy that I bought this from had already done it, so that's fantastic. He also put on a little voltmeter down here. Yeah, honestly, it's kind of useless because, I mean, you look down at the volt to make sure it's still, I mean, if you had a problem, you'd know right away, but that's kind of a cool added feature. It's got the handguard options added to it, so those are the kind of the Zuma handguards. The mirrors are, I believe, are aftermarket, but I really don't know. I can't remember what stock came on these. It does have the dual headlight mod. If you can see that, both headlights are active all the time. That's a super easy mod to do. You can actually buy the wiring thing for that for pretty cheap, or you could just wire it up yourself. That is what we've got here. So the Zuma comes stock. It's with disc brakes in the front. It comes with, a variable speed transmission, or a CVT, constant variable speed transmissions. I mean, it's a twist and go throttle, which makes it really cool. This one also has the acropovic exhaust. It also has a new air intake instead of the regular air box. That's just sort of a stylish sort of feature. You might lose a little bit of bottom end because you don't have as much volume in that air box. Give and take on that, whether that's good or bad. But the acropovic exhaust also has an O2 sensor. That's hugely important. That gives the fuel injection and the ECU on the bike a chance to make up for more exhaust flow, and it can richen up the mixture a little bit. So that's kind of a nice deal. Other than that, that's about it. So let's go take it for a ride and see how this baby goes. I gotta get out of this dirt field. Borrowed the little dirt field from Marietta as well. Thank you very much, Marietta as well. Anyways, we are out here in the vineyards in Livermore, California, which is so dang beautiful. Oh my God. And this time of year is just gorgeous. It is just after harvesting of the red grapes, and the smell from that, you can still smell that permeating. I guess we can go now. All right, so acceleration on a scooter is, it is what it is. I like the 125 because on a 125 scooter, you got enough power to at least get up and get out of your way. But it's not so serious. It's like in the motorcycle category. I mean, we're doing 50 miles an hour. A good cruising speed between 50 and 55. I think, cruise like that, it seems like all day. And a little bit about the ride on the Zuma. So you've got a walk through or step through platform to put your feet, and you can tuck your knees in behind the front of the scooter on a cold morning like this, and it keeps your legs warm. That's really nice. The wider bars I like on this because the stock ones are about 2 inches narrower, and it just seems like it makes it a little bit more cramped. As far as the ride goes, these generally scooters don't ride super smooth. This one, you know, it's smoother than say the 50, but it's still like a scooter, you know. You'd have to spend a lot of money to like some really awesome shocks for this thing to make it like super smooth. But it's set up to carry a load, so I could put 2 people on this and it would carry that load just fine. Especially those rear shocks are pretty heavy duty. If you want to stop the front from pogoing, because sometimes they pogo a little bit, that just has a really lightweight oil in the front forks, you can change that out for a little bit heavier weight. Supposedly the guy did that on this as well, and it doesn't pogo, so I think he probably did that. Anyways, we're going to work our way up to the lake here, and we'll catch you on the way up. And it's good to see kind of going uphill how this thing climbs up a hill, and if it's got enough power to pull up the hill. 125 is awesome. You know, I went out and test rode a 650, and I just was sort of like, what am I doing? You know, I've got a motorcycle. I just want something fun. And I'm like, man, I had a Zuma once before. It was so much fun. All right, now we're getting to the hill. This is where the incline starts. We'll see how fast this thing will go up that hill. This 35 is the speed limit for the corner, but you can feel it slow down. You go down to 50, 45. I think the speed limit's 45, maybe? I'm not tucking right here, just letting it go. Yeah, right around 45. God, look at that view. That's so beautiful. Let's see if this will bring it. This is the steepest part right here. And we're at about 44. I'm not quite full throttle, but I don't think full throttle would help me anymore. Oh, it's speeding up, 45. So 44, 45 is the steepest part. That's not bad. I think that's the speed limit. Alright, well, we made it to the top. And that's pretty beautiful there. We turn around here. This is called Mendenhall Road when we turn around. And take a look at the scooter here really quick again and just show off a couple of the features. Not a lot of features on a scooter, right? But some cool things. So you got your high beam over here. That's super, you know, useful, whatever. Let's see, high beam. Bing. Yep. And then, and we got both headlights, which is double the light. I like that. The single light, there is a reason for the single light. That's so people don't confuse you for, say, a car and think you're a lot farther down the road. But you know, it's a scooter and those lights are really close together, and I think it just looks better with both of them on. Anyway, so the blinker, you know, you turn the blinker like that and you can hear it, which is great. It's audible, so it goes click, 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 and you can hear that even through my helmet. Not sure if you guys can hear that. And then you just press it to cancel it. Has a horn. Sounds like a scooter horn. And then the start button over here, that's the engine run, you know, engine stop. And so you put it on run, and then you press the start button, and you pull in the clutch when you want to start it. Down here, if you can see down here, we've got the ignition. You turn it to open the seat, and you turn it, you can lock this whole thing, and if you lock the whole thing, the back of the key works to open it up. That's to try to keep people from using screwdrivers to turn it on and take off your scooter. And of course, we got the voltmeter, the voltage meter. So we've got all that going on here. Let's shut her off here. And you can turn it off with a key, or you can turn it off with that engine stop button. I end up turning it off with a key so I don't forget to turn off the ignition. And then I turn that, and the seat just opens right up for you. I've got my camera and stuff in here. And this guy had put a cup holder in here. See if I can show you really quick. It's got this cup holder so that he could go to the store and put his coffee cup in there, like if he went to Starbucks. Ultimate Starbucks vehicle. Hey, I thought that was a scooter. It's a KTM. And then he'd put his coffee cup in there, and then he could ride home with his coffee cup. Super cool. Anyways, we'll get back on down this road and have a little bit more view of this scooter going along, and check it out. I love these things. This is awesome. If you have a chance to get a scooter, you know, they're pretty inexpensive. They're not a whole, you know, here, I'll look, one more thing. I added the stock fender back on. He'd removed it, and that maybe looked pretty cool, but if you're riding in the rain, that water's going to come straight up and hit you in the back. So put the big fender back on it. What else was I going to say? Oh, so yeah, pretty inexpensive, brand new. You can buy these things. They look a little bit different for 2024. They are kind of the same shape, but they have a little rack out here with dual headlights that are a little bit smaller. And that would be pretty useful to have a little tiny rack. I always thought putting a rack would be pretty cool. You can get a rack for the back of these. It replaces this bar right here, and then it just comes back about that far. So if I were to do that, I'd probably actually make my own and make it come a little bit farther back. I've seen people with saddlebags and stuff on these. That would be good for taking trips, which we may do. I think we're going to go for some exploring on this thing. Anyways, so you know, pretty cheap. A used one, $2,500 to $3,000. I've seen them even cheaper than that, but I think the 125 is the right size to get, because the smaller the 50 is fun around town, but you really can't get out on a road like this because you're only doing like 25-30 miles an hour. And if you hit a hill like that, they're really, really slow. So around town, 50s are perfect. The 125, you can get out of the way of traffic a little bit better, so I like the 125. You start getting bigger, and they start to get closer to a motorcycle. And you could do some touring on a scooter, on a bigger one. That's what I was kind of thinking of doing, getting a bigger scooter, a 650. I looked at that BMW, but after riding it, I'm like, yeah, it's not as fun as a little scooter, because this parking, I could show you parking, man. I can park anywhere on this thing. City streets, sidewalks. You go to a shopping center, and usually they have the really big sidewalk there, and I just go pull up on the sidewalk and park it by the bike rack, and nobody seems to care. I was in San Francisco with my old scooter, and I was trying to find a place to park, and there were police everywhere, and I was thinking, man, probably shouldn't park on the sidewalk. And so I talked to one of the policemen. I said, hey, can I park on the sidewalk? And he goes, yeah, police station's right here. Just park in front of the police station. Nobody will bother it. And I was like, right on. So I parked in front of the police station, and nobody bothered it. It was awesome. Anyways, let's take it back on down the hill, and I'll show you a little bit more about the scooter ride. Nobody's coming. Let's get out of here. Woo! Put my shield down. All right. Pretty nice. This is what that old scooter looks like. Pretty neat. Got one-handed here. Pretty cool though. My wife always holds the 360 camera, and if I hold it straight out like a torpedo. Anyways, beautiful views down through here riding this scooter. Just love it. Just a great view, and that scooter's just fun, man. I can tuck my knees in behind here. See that? Tuck them in. It's because it's really cold out. I only wore a sweatshirt, so I'm a little bit chilly, but sticking the knees in makes it really nice. It's It's a pretty comfortable seat. I'd like to try this for a lot longer rides and see how it goes, because, you know, out here for about 20-30 minutes, it's super comfortable. Let's see, we're doing 50 miles an hour. Let's go. Woo! 55, 60. Wow. You gotta slow down, that's a little fast. 65. A little fast. Yeah, 65, that's pretty fast. Let's see, we try it down here at the end, see how fast we go. I'm a little scared to go too fast. Here we go. 60. Yeehaw! So 65 on the speedometer, which is probably a little generous, but that's probably 60. That's pretty quick. Unless you got a tailwind. All right. Well, out here on the scooter, it is a lot of fun. And, ooh, that's a cool windmill right there. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Zuma 125. Boom.